Time now for a look at business with Chris McCusker from City News. Mike Apple off today. Chris, good morning. Good to see you.
Good morning. Yes. How are you?
I'm good. How was your Halloween experience, if there was one?
I was at a friend's house handing out candy, so that was fun.
Nice.
Only saw one Taylor Swift. That was kind of surprising.
You know what I have to say, before we dive into the recession, or the reported recession,
right?
I didn't see a ton of Ken and Barbies, which I was thankful for, anywhere on my timeline. I saw a bit more Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift, understandably.
Okay.
But I thought it was like the obvious play the hits didn't really happen. And I credit society on that front. I thought it was a good call.
Yeah. It wasn't overdone, shall we say.
Yes, agree.
Yeah.
All right, back to the whole recession thing. And there are whispers. We're in the early stages of one already in this country.
Right.
But Chris, one economist in this country is saying not so fast.
Yeah, Derek Holt, who is head of capital markets economics at Scotiabank, says calling what the situation is right now a recession would be a little bit premature. Now, we did learn yesterday, we got some preliminary data from StatsCan, which does suggest that we are likely to see back-to-back quarterly contractions, which by definition is a recession, so a technical recession. But Derek Holt says that expenditure-based GDP for the third quarter, which will be released later this month, is a more appropriate indicator because that data takes into account inventory changes as well as imports and exports. And I'm getting into the weeds a little bit here, but essentially he doesn't want to call it just yet because he wants to see more data. The CD Howe Institute Business Cycle Council also looks at other factors to determine a recession, including a broader economic downturn, which usually means protracted job losses and steadily rising unemployment, and we haven't seen that yet. In 2015, by the way, we did see 2 consecutive quarters of contraction without a full declaration of a recession, so let's just all take a breath. Wait for more data. We do get jobs data on Friday, so that will be, sort of part of the scenario here. But yes, at least one economist saying not so fast.
But Chris, again, before we move on, and I am certainly the layperson in this discussion, if we are in any form of recession, then the interest rates in terms of climbing, and we've seen it, numerous times over the last 18 months, that's pretty much going to come to an end, right?
Exactly. That's sort of the bright spot if you want to find
it's a weird bright spot, you're right, but that's the way that goes.
Yes.
All right, moving on. Chris, I don't know who had a worse October, the Jays or the stock markets. Let's focus on the stock markets here. It's a new day, a new month. What should we expect?
Good question. So we're going to hear from the U.S. Federal Reserve later today, Sid, with an interest rate announcement. No change expected in the U.S. at this meeting, but the data in the U.S. compared to what we've seen in Canada has been really, really strong. So there is still a possibility that the Fed could hike in December, and investors will be watching for clues on that at the interest rate announcement at 2 o'clock this afternoon. So yes, markets in North America coming off losses in October. In the U.S., the Dow, the S&P, and the NASDAQ are now on a 3-month losing streak. We have not seen 3 straight losing months in the U.S. since March of 2020. We all remember March of 2020. The TSX is on track for a 3rd straight winning day. It was down by about 3.5% in the month of October, and that meant it was the worst performer in North America last month. So hopefully, brighter days ahead. We'll know more this time tomorrow.
For the record, Chris, I've tried to erase all memories of March 2020 in my brain. Finally, Chris, I'm all in on this. You have some bad news regarding Elon Musk. Do tell.
Yeah. So his personal wealth continues to dwindle. He is still the richest person in the world, but his net worth did drop below $200 billion for the first time since June, and then it took another hit yesterday of about $7 billion. And the problem here, Sid, the stock has wiped out, Tesla stock has wiped out nearly 1/5 of its value in less than 2 weeks. Part of this concern that demand for electric cars is starting to weaken. Although in true Elon Musk fashion, he did unveil new details about the Cybertruck during an interview on Joe Rogan's podcast. Musk says the company expects to make 200,000 Cybertrucks a year and that vehicle finally set to make its debut at the end of the month. So Tesla's stock recent slump, let's say, has erased about $130 billion from the company's market capitalization, although, as of last check, it's poised to open just a hair higher today.
And I know people at home are saying, you know, he's still worth $200 billion or so.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's fine. The one
Yes.
thing we have to reiterate constantly, Chris, and please back me up on this, billionaires really care how less of a billionaire they are. It seems to be an ego thing.
I think that's true, and Musk is still number one. If that were to change, yes, that would be a concern, I would think.
Yes.
That would be an issue for him. Yes.
Real awkwardness at parties for Elon Musk. Chris McCusker, business editor and reporter for City News. Chris, have a good day. Thank you.
Yeah, you too. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. Good stuff. All right, we're going to take another break. You sound off on the other side.